All right, I'm going to walk you through the first free response from review day 13. I ended up doing this, but my phone went a little crazy. So we'll just kind of walk you through what I did before. We have a potato, and the internal temperature is 91 degrees at T equals 0, so that's where we're starting at. It always has a temperature above 27, and we have a differential equation that tells us how the temperature is changing. So the first thing we were supposed to do is find the line tangent to there and use it to approximate the temperature at 3. So always we want is point slope. As far as our point goes, we're looking at time 0, and at 0 it had a temperature of 91. So the time will act kind of like x, the temperature will kind of act like y. As far as the slope goes, then we need to put that point into the differential equation to find the slope. So if you put 91 in, you get negative 1/4 times 91 minus 27, which gave us a negative 16. So that's the slope. You got 1 point if you did that. Okay, then we can build the equation. The temperature minus 91 equals slope, negative 16 times t minus 0. If you use y, that's fine. If you use x, that's fine. But they want that equation, and they gave you a point for it. And then we want to figure out what's going on at 3. So it's just as simple as put 3 in there and work it out. 91 minus 6 times 3 gives us 43 degrees. That was worth a point. Okay, so they were kind of generous on this equation part, but that's how we do part A. Part B says use the second derivative to decide if this is an over or under. So we're going to be talking about concave up or concave down. So the second derivative of this is negative 1/4 times the derivative of h, which is dh dt. So we have to sub that back in. dh dt is this again. So we're going to put that right there, which gives us negative 1/4 times negative 1/4 times b minus 27, or h minus 27, which gives us 1/16 times h minus 27. And they told us that h was always above 27, so therefore this will always be positive. This is positive, so the second derivative is always positive. Since my second derivative is positive, that means we're going to be concave up here, and therefore our tangent lines will fall below. So anything that we use the tangent line to approximate is going to be less than the actual value. So we would say that our estimate was an underestimate because h is concave up. All right? And so then that gets us to C, and we're kind of expecting to have to do a separation on this one. And what they did was they threw a curveball at this group and said, no, you're not separating that one, you're going to separate this one. It still has the same initial temperature, but now you got to work with that. So first thing you have to do is separate your variables. I left the negative over here. I just feel like it's a little bit easier if we make this side as simple as possible. That got you a point. If you brought this over here, you could bring the negative with you if you wanted, but again, I think it's easier if you do that. Now, I rewrote that as g minus 27 to the negative 2/3, and I do that because if this had just been g to the negative 2/3, you'd have no problem. You would just go g to the 1/3 over 1/3. The thing about this is g minus 27, the derivative of that is dg. So you can handle this just like you would regular g. I know we've probably, some of you maybe did a u sub, which is fine. But if you handle it as g, then we're adding 1 to this exponent, dividing by 1/3, which brings it up as a 3. That's the integral of this side. And then the integral of negative dt is just negative t plus c. Those integrals got you a point. Now we want to find out what c equals. So when t is 0, we'll put 0 in here, so you get just c. G was 91. So if I put 91 in there, 91 minus 27 is 64. Third root of 64 is 4. 4 times 3 gives us 12. There's our c value. So plugging those values in and finding c got us a point here. Then we're putting that 12 in there and working this out. So from this point, we would divide by 3. And then I want to get rid of the 1/3, so we're going to take the cube of both sides and then add 27 over. That gives me this equation. That's worth a point. And then the last thing is they said based on that equation, what's the temperature at t equal 3? So if I put 3 in for t, negative 3 plus 9, or 12 is 9. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 to the third power is 27. 27 plus 27 gives us 54, and that would have gotten you the 9th